you consider switching over to an electric vehicle?
I think it's friendlier towards the environment, though I think I'd likely go with a hybrid vehicle over an electric vehicle. I think in the climate here in Alberta in particular, it's a little bit of a friendlier choice, not just personally, but for the entire region. But I like the idea of using more fuel efficient vehicle when I can.
I think fully electric depends on the grid because Alberta's grid still has coal. So coal is actually not more sustainable than gas. So I think we need to ensure that the electric grid has more sustainability sources. And if that were the case, then I would be more keen. But right now having coal in the mix, as well as other renewables, like the mix doesn't really balance out for me yet. But if it was majority renewables, then I would switch to electric.
The biggest concern for me is distance. So I'm not stuck in Edmonton. I like to go and visit my family. I'm just worried that I wouldn't be able to get home maybe, but I would consider it.
I would actually. I have a hybrid already, and I would consider switching, although it really is quite pricey. So to go from a hybrid to electric actually is a big step. So I'm even in the market right now looking at the vehicles, and I think the price of the all electric is scaring me a little bit from the jump from the hybrid at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. I drive a gas vehicle right now, but with city commuting, it's much more efficient and better for the environment to get an electric vehicle.
I mean, we're going to get into a situation where we're mining huge amounts of rare metals too, which is also an environmental issue, so there's a downside to electric vehicles too.
I would. Yeah, I would consider. I think that it's better for the environment. I think that although, living in Alberta, we have the lowest gas costs, I think that from a long-term perspective and sustainability wise, we're not going to be able to keep this up forever. And I think that switching to electric vehicles in a kind of slow and sustainable way is a good way for us to diversify our economy and to ensure that we have longevity and can do something to combat a climate crisis that seems kind of hopeless sometimes.
I like the convenience of plugging it in my garage.
Yeah, but in turn, your electricity bill is going to go up, so they're just going to raise the prices on your electricity bill too. The only benefit that we have between BC is there's the hydro dam. Alberta, we don't. We have to burn coal. So, or we have to buy it from BC, and then that goes up in prices.
Yes, absolutely. We're actually looking at one now. Me and my wife we're thinking that our last vehicle perhaps will be an electric vehicle, and I'm all towards it for sure. I mean, whatever we can do to help with climate change. I am from Alberta. I do believe in gas and oil. However, I believe in the overall good being an electric vehicle, whether it's carbon or battery. It's definitely the right way to go for sure.
No, I wouldn't. I think there's too many issues with them, depending on the climate. I know that they don't run well in really extreme cold conditions like you might have on the prairies. I also have issues with where they get the raw materials from to make the batteries, because I understand that a lot of those raw materials are coming from countries that don't have very good human rights record in the way that they're treating their employees, etc.
Yes, I would. Again, I'm an Albertan at heart. I've lived here now for 6 years. I know a lot of people that are staunch conservatives and very much against electric vehicles, but they're never going to take over to the point where there's no, combustion engines anymore. There's going to be gas vehicles always, especially when it comes to transportation of goods, semi-trucks and things like that. They're a long ways off from becoming electric.
So I don't have personal experience, but I read a lot, and of course we can get information from different places. But I know I'm in construction. I use batteries. Batteries have a tough time in cold weather. During the winter, I bring all of my tool batteries into warm weather. I don't leave them in a vehicle or outside because the cold is hard on them. So cold is going to be hard on electric vehicle batteries at this point in time, I believe.
No, I'd certainly consider switching. I mean, it's just a matter of getting something that's going to be competitive and can do what we'd want to have with an automobile without the environmental cost of internal combustion engines.
I think I would consider it for the environmental factors, but in this economy, there's no way I can afford an electric vehicle. So I feel like there are other ways to be a little bit more environmentally friendly, maybe taking the bus or ride shares, Ubers, carpooling, walking or biking. So if it was affordable, sure. But in this economy, probably not at the moment.
Right now, for me, too pricey because I live downtown, I work downtown, so I walk. I own a vehicle, but it's just not worth it for me to switch. Definitely in the future, as EV chargers become more normal, if my building had one, then it'd be more worth it. So in the future, sure. Right now, no.
Yes, actually, we had a discussion on my wife's last vehicle, and right now the infrastructure. We're from Newfoundland. The infrastructure isn't there yet, but absolutely down the road, we fully would look at an electric vehicle, especially for one vehicle commuting. Yes.